My name is Sergio Jordann, and today I'm coming to you with another episode of Dispatch. This is Dispatch 189. Yesterday, we got the news of Corey Graves cheating on his wife with Carmella. So basically they are married and they have 3 kids. She got to know that, he was cheating on her with Carmella. Even Carmella sent like a video long ago. She posted the video of congratulating their daughter for her birthday. And they are together. Wow. And this dude, Corey Graves, I think it was a couple of months ago, he talked about CM Punk, how he is not his friend anymore. And then you hear from his wife that this dude was cheating on him for a while now. It has been a long time. And Big Cass, when he got fired, the first thing that came out is that he got angry at Vic Joseph because he was trying to be nice to Carmella. I'm sorry, Big Cass. Even though you're not with WWE anymore, you had a seizure in one of the shows. I love you, but you were targeting the wrong guy. Corey Graves, all along, he was doing it with your girl, Carmella. And there was one of these videos that I saw on social media when he talked about Carmella and he was so nice and his face just changed. And I was like, when you see that video again, you feel so cringy. It wasn't for show. Let me just read what the wife said on social media. She had to delete it, but thankfully some people, took a screenshot of it. We saw everything that she said. There was even messages of Corey Graves basically telling her that him and WWE will sue her. So this motherfucker is going to sue his own wife and let WWE handle that? What the fuck? Like seriously, what the fuck? Let me just read what she said. This may be totally blow me off, but I'm hurt. I'm sad. I've put 11 years into supporting a man to accomplish his dream only for him to punch me in the gut. I've been through suicide attempts, alcoholism, among so much more with him and stuck by his side. The kicker is finding out that he has been sleeping with one of my daughter's role models all along. Carmella and Corey Graves, I hope you guys are happy. I really do. Let me shed a light on the other side of this thing, especially on social media. There are people, actual people, who are defending Carmella on social media. If any one of you who is listening to this podcast, they're doing that on their accounts and defending her like she has nothing to do with this thing, I hope you die in hell. Because she knows this motherfucker is a married man. He has kids and everything, so she would be okay with it because she's not married, so that's fine to do it. Fuck you. And the guy has kids and shit. He has been married for 11 years. I know there are issues, and I see guys defending Corey Graves. Yeah, sometimes when you're in a marriage, you feel like you're stuck, you don't know what you're doing with your life, you feel like your life is boring, and now you want to explore other things to do. Well, that's the main thing about marriage. It binds you with the other person. You have to stay forever with them until you get a divorce. So let's say if Corey Graves got divorced and then he went out with Carmella, then that's fine. But to do it while you're married to another woman and this girl, Carmella, to know about his marriage and be okay with it and go out with the guy and sleep with him, that's fucked up. And Corey Graves to say, WWE is gonna sue you. I hope WWE pulls Corey Graves from the show, especially tonight at the Elimination Chamber. And if they had to do it with Carmella too, I say go for it. Yeah, go for it and pull her too. But the problem is they don't have anyone on Smackdown to take her place. But that's not the case here. You can put Lana inside the match too. Now let's come to the other side, to the partner. Let's come to the partner of Carmella, and that's Naomi. Naomi and Jimmy Uso, they have been drunk driving, I guess. Naomi was driving on the opposite side of the street, so the cop stopped them. When they stopped, he smelled booze, inside the car. He asked them to come down. Jimmy Uso came down. He took off his shirt, and he was about to have a fist fight with the cop. The cop said, you know what? I have a taser here, so please calm down. Jimmy Uso surrendered. They took him to the police station, and he got arrested. Put some money out, and he billed. So, the thing is, there are some news outlets. It's talking about Fox News. When did we ever hear something truthful from Fox News? That's like well known worldwide, not only in the US. Everyone knows Fox News is just bullshit. Anyways, they were saying there was this article about I don't know who was an idiot to give this guy one of the news and let them write an article about it. So this guy accused Jimmy Uso and Naomi of getting themselves fired. That's why they did it. That's why, they got drunk and they went opposite the way of the street. So WWE would see that and then fire them. Whoever the fuck are you who wrote that article? WWE doesn't fire their employees that easy. Unless it is something very serious. It reminded me of the Rich Swann thing when he beat his wife and there was this investigation going on. So they had to do something about it and they released Rich Swann. And there was one other guy by the name of Enzo Amore. There was allegations of rape and they didn't find anything on the guy. So they won't fire someone because they were drunk or something like that. No, they won't do that. You idiot. So Jimmy Uso. Jimmy and Jey Uso, they were about to get the titles. That's what's gonna happen. They're going to win the titles at the Elimination Chamber. And sometimes when you do something bad, that doesn't mean they're gonna punish you. Because Jeff Hardy did that before. I think he was driving the opposite side of the street or something like that. He even hit a curb or something. So he was even more dangerous than Jimmy Uso and Naomi. And then they give him the US title. So it doesn't mean they're gonna punish you. It's totally fine. But the Usos, most probably, they would have got the tag team titles there. But now with this thing going on, maybe they're gonna change some plans and say, hey, we're gonna keep it on The Miz and Shane McMahon. And they can drop it on Smackdown to some other team. And I suggested on my social media account that if they're going to pull the Usos from the whole show, they should do a fatal 4-way match on the pre-show to determine the number one contender, and then the winner will face Shane McMahon and The Miz on the main show and win the titles. And I said it should be sanity. They should give them the push here, and they should do something with the guys because they're not doing anything with them. But it seems like, according to Dave Meltzer, that the match is going to happen at the Elimination Chamber, and most probably the Usos are going to win the titles. They should be punished. They should be taken out of the match. But it seems like they're going forward with the plan. And they're going to win the tag team titles anyways. The only innocent person that doesn't need to be involved in all this is Jey Uso. Jimmy and Naomi, they did their own thing. And then Naomi and Carmella, what a team they are. Both of them doing crazy shit this weekend. So you have Jimmy Uso, I think he was the big troublemaker from the whole group. And Jey Uso, he did nothing. The dude did nothing here. So hopefully he doesn't get punished or something like that. But the problem is with the Usos, you know how Vince McMahon thinks. Oh, these two guys are a tag team now, when one of them does something bad, the other guy, goes down the drain. The same thing happened to Tyler Breeze, when Fandango being injured. They didn't do shit with these two guys. But while Tyler Breeze was on his own, he did one good match with Ricochet in NXT, and he had one other match with Dean Ambrose that was kind of good. But other than that, they didn't do shit with the guy. It was something similar like this happened too. When Jay was injured, Jimmy was doing some commentary stuff on Main Event, I think, or Superstars, which he was good. He wasn't bad on those commentary segments. Also, in other news, we got the New Japan New Beginning show. Is on our YouTube channel. You can go on Dispatch Wrestling. I reviewed the whole show with everything. I talked about the Jay White thing, and I talked about Kota Ibushi. Let me just further talk about this thing. With Jay White winning the IWGP Heavyweight title, he did a promo after that in one of the press conferences. He said he doesn't care about the fans, especially those who think that he doesn't deserve the IWGP title. And now he's the best wrestler in the world. You can even add the best sports entertainer. Look, as a promo, the guy is great, and I thought that match was good. I thought the match was actually really good at the New Beginning show. But if we're being honest here, to put Jay White in the position of Kenny Omega, Jay White is not as good as Kenny Omega. And he doesn't even have the charisma that Kenny Omega has, the way that he talks. He's a good promo, he's not a great promo, but his in-ring work needs improvement. And he's still young, they gave the belt to the guy. They did the same thing with Okada. I've been repeating this over and over again. They did that, and now they gave the ball to Jay White. And hopefully he doesn't choke, because this is like a big responsibility to have. And as the New Japan Cup is coming up next month, the month of March is going to be great, because we have all the New Japan Cup matches, all the New Japan Cup shows. I'm going to be looking forward to that. In every weekend, we're going to get some shows from New Japan. So that's great. And even March is a month of my birthday. And I'm getting old anyways. So, I don't know. I still think it's a mistake. Maybe I'm going to be... I hope I'm proven wrong. That's what I'm looking forward to. I hope a day comes and we see Jay White. He is like the big superstar that New Japan needed. He opens doors. He opens, ways for everyone to do their thing. Gedo, he's a genius. So I'm sure he has a plan, coming up in the future because he plans to the future and knows what's going to come up next for New Japan. So all in all, I have the full trust on Gedo and I know he can do the right thing. It was a big punishment when the guys from the Elite, they left New Japan and Ring of Honor. And that's what I've been saying, like New Japan and Ring of Honor, they should have still worked with AEW. I mean, they had like a couple of meetings with the guys before Wrestle Kingdom, and they couldn't come to a conclusion. And the problem here was Ring of Honor, because they know it's an American company, Ring of Honor 2, they operate in America, so they don't want competition, but you can work together. I mean, Ring of Honor works with NWA, unless they don't see NWA as a competition, and that's why they work with them. So you open the door for AEW to work with AAA, and that shut the door on CMLL. So, CMLL, they won't be happy about, AEW working with AAA. And now all their talents won't be able to go to AEW. And then you have other guys, coming in, like Jimmy Havoc, like MJF, some wrestlers from MLW, which is cool. OWE, Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, in which I thought that was one of the best deals that AEW did. I've been watching these guys throughout the internet with GIFs, videos, pictures, everything, and I thought these guys were very talented. And I was wondering, why don't they bring these guys, to other companies in the US? I wanted to see them more in Ring of Honor at least, to get something new. But AEW, they secured the deal because Shima apparently brought the Young Bucks for their first show in Japan. So he had like a big hand for the Young Bucks. So that was like easier said than done because they know the guys. And I'm looking forward for their match. I think the SCU OWE match at Double or Nothing is gonna blow the roof off. The Double or Nothing show, we're going to get a great main event with Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. And also you have the Young Bucks going against the Lucha Bros. And Cody, I said this on my Twitter account that the guy who's going against Cody is Carlito. But let's see. Maybe it's Dean Ambrose. When he finishes up with WWE, he goes to Double or Nothing and he has a match with Cody. If both these guys went out and they knew everything is on the line to give a great match, they're going to do a great match. Especially Dean Ambrose, if you give him the freedom to do whatever he wants, he will be great at it. Talking about Dean Ambrose, WWE, they tried again one more meeting with Dean Ambrose to let him stay in WWE, apparently giving him a less schedule and also more money to be and stay with WWE. And Dean Ambrose said, dude, I'm not here playing with you. I'm not here telling you, hey, I'm leaving because I want more money. I actually want to leave because I want to try something new. And with that, I totally respect Dean Ambrose. He talked about this on the not the Agent Christian show, the podcast of Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Wrestling Figure Podcast, something like that. He talked about some other wrestlers, they do it just for the money. They are there for the money. They don't have any creative outlet to do whatever they want to do or try to do a change in the wrestling business. And that's not the kind of guy that he is. I think from the day the Shield just separated, he knew. He knew from that day that he is doomed. Because they focused on Seth Rollins. As soon as they got separated, we saw Seth Rollins curb stomping Dean Ambrose into a cinder block. They took him off TV. Dean Ambrose went to shoot a movie. And then when he came back, he was like the biggest babyface you ever saw. So they focused on Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. They totally forgot about Dean Ambrose. And I think from that moment, he knew that he's fucked. Because he's the third wheel. They're going to focus on the other two guys. And from that moment, look, he tried. Sometimes I thought he really tried until he won the WWE title. And then he just, became lazy. He wasn't that much into it. But from that moment, I thought he's doomed. Because he was looking forward to just leaving WWE. He did the smart thing. Truly, Dean Ambrose is a smart guy. He didn't talk about releases. He didn't do anything. He did everything that WWE asked him to do. And when the time came for him to leave and not renew his contract, he said, hey, I don't want to renew. I want to leave. So with that, I think he's a very smart guy. Unlike other people who just wanted the releases to leave the company, and they said no. I like that touch of Dean Ambrose. He knew what to do at the right time. And the last piece of news before we dive into the shows, we're gonna talk about The Undertaker and Ric Flair showing up at Starrcast. Let me explain something to you guys. Starrcast, I know it goes toe-to-toe with Double or Nothing and AEW, but they are not connected. It's a separate show with a separate venue, with separate people, taking care of it. Conrad Thompson, he's the guy who did the first Starrcast. It was very successful, and the second one is coming up. And The Undertaker, you know how he is. He takes $25,000 for an hour of appearance. And I don't blame him. He's a phenom. He can charge whatever money he wants. And I'm sure with him being there and them charging, I don't know, like $200 for a photo and a signed signature thingy, if they do it right, $25,000. So if you do it $200, 10, 20, no, 10, 100. So if you get like more than 200 people to do it, then you got your money back. And I'm sure he can do it right. He will get his money back. And also, when the time comes for Starrcast to be rolling, in May, you will see photos of Cody and the Young Bucks and Hangman Page taking photos with The Undertaker, Ric Flair, and everyone, on their shows. So it's totally fine. Does that mean that The Undertaker will show up at AEW and have a match there? No. And I don't want to see The Undertaker in a match because he is not fit to do matches anymore. We saw what happened there to my baby, Shawn Michaels, at Crown Jewel. When he did the moonsault and Kane, The Undertaker, no one caught the guy. He landed on his freaking face. Man, when I saw that moonsault, then a couple of shows later, I saw Ricochet at War Games do the 450, but that was a double 450. So what would that be? The 900 from the top of the cage? He did that from the top of the War Games cage on everyone to the floor, and everyone caught Ricochet. Like, they did their best to catch the guy, unlike The Undertaker and Kane, and Shawn Michaels just, dove onto his face. So yeah, I don't want to see The Undertaker in matches, and I hope this, this is like a time for The Undertaker to think about his health and just do appearances. That's what he needs these days. But I hope The Undertaker shows up in Being the Elite, at least. He shows up somewhere, behind something. They do something with him. That can be really cool. I would be totally into it. So let's talk about Monday Night Raw, February 11th episode. We had Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. They were in the ring to start the show. They talked about some of the matches at the Elimination Chamber, and then they came to Becky Lynch. They said that she saw a doctor. Before they could continue, Becky Lynch came out. Triple H said Becky Lynch saw her own doctors and not the WWE's, and they agreed, and Becky is cleared to compete. And she will face Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania if she apologized, because they apologized before all this, and they wanted Becky Lynch to do that. So Becky Lynch said she doesn't trust them or the old man. They have been screwing people over for years. She'll fight them, and she will fight the old man too. Then we see Becky Lynch getting in the face of Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H said, hey, stop it. You just need to think about it. You have until the end of the show to think about it and let us know what you will do. So Becky Lynch to apologize to Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Serious, like, this is not a kindergarten story. When one of the kids does something bad, you go like, hey, you need to go apologize to the other kid because you hit them, or you need to apologize to the teacher because you threw something at the teacher or something like that. No, this is like grown-up people asking for apologies. And I thought, like, overall, for a Becky Lynch story and a Becky Lynch character, that doesn't look good. You have to make it more serious and more grown-up-ish. Not the ish that we saw right here. So throughout the show, we saw Becky Lynch, she was talking to Finn Balor. We see Alexa Bliss coming to her and telling her, hey, if you apologize, you're just doing what they ask you to do. So Becky Lynch, called her up on that, said, I think you're doing that so I won't be in the main event and you take my spot. Alexa was like, yeah, you caught me. Yeah, sorry. So it's just so childish. And a bigger problem happened later on the show. I will come to that. Nia Jax and Tamina defeated Bayley and Sasha Banks and the Riot Squad in a triple threat women's tag team match. the match was actually good. I enjoyed, the stuff that happened in the ring, especially from Nia and Tamina. They were on point with most of stuff. The Riot Squad, especially Sarah Logan, she's actually a very good wrestler. She was doing great here. In the middle of the match, we saw Sasha Banks being taken out as the Riot Squad pushed her in the barricade. So the doctors came out, they took Sasha Banks away because she's not cleared, and Bayley continued the match on her own. And at the end, we saw Nia Jax pinning Bayley, so that means Sasha Banks and Bayley, they're going to start the match at the Elimination Chamber. So throughout the days, we saw reports of Sasha Banks saying she's either cleared or not cleared, but at the end, WWE issued a statement saying that Sasha Banks is cleared and she would be able to compete at the Elimination Chamber. So that's good, because I want Sasha Banks and Bayley to win the tag team titles. Elias was about to perform. He got interrupted. Twice, actually. First, it was Becky Lynch. They went to the back. Finn Balor was talking to her. He encouraged her, and at the end, he said, do what you think is right. Which is a good thing to hear from a teacher. And the second time, it was a video package for Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. It showed up. The third time he was about to sing a song, the Lucha House Party came out. Kalisto suggested that he should play the guitar a little bit. He played it, he was good at it. And Elias waffled him with the guitar, then left the ring. So they're gonna start a feud between Elias and Kalisto, I guess. Finn Balor defeated Drew McIntyre by disqualification after an interference from Bobby Lashley. Then we saw Kurt Angle coming out, Baron Corbin came out, and after that, Braun Strowman came out. It was like a freaking party. They were having an orgy together. And of course, this led for a 6-man tag team match between these two teams. And at the end, Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, and Kurt Angle defeated Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley. So the babyfaces won. Kevin Owens gave an update to the WWE Universe. You can notice that he lost a lot of weight. Like, his face is thinner. When he stood up, he wasn't like in bad of shape that he was before. He's walking better. So he said, you will either see him on Raw or SmackDown. And he had like a very bad shot with a bowling ball. And this made the internet erupt. They're making Kevin Owens look like a bad guy. They're making Kevin Owens look like he's not perfect and he's fat. What the fuck? I thought this was supposed to be like, hey, this is Kevin Owens. This is like in his real life. That's kind of person he is. He plays with his family. He does his own thing. And now, people are talking about, him being not perfect because of Dave Meltzer. He said like, they're trying to do the gimmick of an opposite Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect was doing everything perfectly, and this is the opposite of it. And I don't think that's the case. I think they just wanted to give like a cute update to Kevin Owens, and when he comes back, he's going to be a heel. I don't think he will be a babyface. I think his relationship with Sami Zayn, with them being together, should continue, and they do some crazy shit together, and we should see Kevin Owens as the Universal Champion in the future. I would like to see that. I want to see Kevin Owens as the Universal Champion, and then Sami Zayn wins the Money in the Bank this year and cashes in later in the year on someone else. Not Kevin Owens, but he should win the Money in the Bank briefcase. Because for 2 years, the Money in the Bank was denigrated 6 feet under. With Baron Corbin having a failed attempt, with Braun Strowman doing jack shit with it. So we need to give it to a guy that will make a change. Not Carmella cashing in that shit on Charlotte Flair after what happened at WrestleMania. No, we need something new. Sami Zayn winning the title, having a run with it. Even if it is for 2 or 3 months, I don't care. They should do something with Sami Zayn. This guy is fucking talented. And we need some successful attempts to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Anyways, the Riot Squad... Ruby Riot defeated Nikki Cross in a quick match with the Riot Kick. And Nikki Cross, man, look, if people wanted to get angry, they should be angry at this. Like, Nikki Cross was booked awesomely on NXT. She's a great character from NXT, but when she comes to the main roster, she's just losing matches. She teamed up with Alicia Fox being a heel while she was a babyface in NXT, and now she's just being a girl who loses matches. I don't like that. I wish she was still with Sanity and they'd be a big group in SmackDown, but they have too many teams in SmackDown, so I didn't like this at all. Seth Rollins came down to the ring. He talked about winning the Royal Rumble and punching his ticket to WrestleMania. The next night he received 6 F5s. 6th F5s. He says he's in pain from taking F5s. The good news is he took it standing up. I mean, did you have to make a 6 joke taking it standing up? I mean, that's not comfortable. You have to be on bed and do it standing, laying down. That's like easier. Anyways, Paul Heyman interrupted. He said that if Seth Rollins tries to beat Brock Lesnar, he's going to be the architect of his demise. That's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. Seth Rollins said he doesn't care Lesnar has held the WWE hostage. Seth Rollins said he doesn't care because Brock Lesnar has held WWE hostage for 2 years. He would burn in hell before he lets Lesnar leave with the title at WrestleMania. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. See, Seth Rollins had to use the same slogan that Paul Heyman uses, I guess. And they have like 27, 28 writers in WWE. They can't come up with something new, you know? This Seth Rollins stuff, I talked about this before. I hate babyface Seth Rollins. Especially his promos. It's cringeworthy. It's not believable. It's just weird. He is good as a heel, and he should stay a heel. And that's what they don't get. Like, I know you don't have a top babyface now on the show. You need a guy to be your top babyface. But Seth Rollins as a babyface, I don't fucking care about him. He sucks. He's a great wrestler. And that's one thing that, and that's one thing that really pisses me off. When he has bad matches with other guys. Because he is a good wrestler. He can get something out of everyone. And they're just fucking up Seth Rollins here. Let's be honest here. Like, should we see Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania main eventing? No. Give me any other match, especially not Brock Lesnar. I'm just sick of this guy, and they should do something new. Give the women the main event. They should be in the main event. Or give us, Daniel Bryan versus someone to be the main event. So, Dean Ambrose came out after that. He told Seth Rollins, slay the beast, and he sat in the corner. And there were reports of Dean Ambrose going off script. He kept it short, but the script was supposed to be him talking about Seth Rollins and them, being together with the Shield and being with Roman Reigns, doing their own thing. No. I don't think he went off script because the guy is leaving the company, so I don't think he will be an unprofessional and not do what they were asking him to do. So he will do whatever WWE wants, and I think they were short on time, and that's why he kept it only with one line. The Revival versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable for the Raw tag team. Before that. EC3 lost to Dean Ambrose in a quick match. I think this feud will continue between the two, and EC3 is a heel now. Dean Ambrose is a babyface. The Revival versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable for the Raw tag team titles. This was amazing. Maybe one of the best tag team matches on the main roster from 2019, I think. It should be one of the best. This was great. Everything you wanted to see. I mean, when you give these guys time to do their own thing, they always deliver. And it was obvious here. The Revival, they needed the win after losing and losing and losing and losing. They needed the win here. They should have done even more with the guys. They didn't. So now they won the titles. And Scott Dawson, for fuck's sake, he wrote on social media, there was this photo of him and Dash Wilder with Triple H. Them holding the titles. He wrote, when you complain enough, you get what you want. I was like, is this guy trying to get fired? Like, seriously, come on. That was funny, but that doesn't bode well with you. When WWE sees that, they won't be happy. Becky Lynch came down to the ring to make her choice. Triple H and Stephanie also joined her. Becky Lynch still feels that neither one of them really wants her in the match. If there are just 2 little words she needs to say, then she will. And the crowd chanted, suck it, suck it, suck it. And she said she's sorry. Okay, when she said she's sorry, everyone just got so pissed to hear Becky Lynch apologize. They said she shouldn't apologize. She is the anti-authority. Why should she apologize and then get screwed? Well, it seems like they have a story here. Okay? I'm not the kind of guy who says you need to trust WWE with what they do. But sometimes maybe they have a plan, and I'm sure Becky Lynch will have her comeback and she will be the best, and she will be one of the best wrestlers in WWE, when it comes to storylines, and she will be the next Steve Austin that some people like to say. Yeah, people didn't like this at all. Then Vince McMahon came out, he said, no, I agree with Stephanie McMahon. that this may be the best match in history. But, Becky Lynch, you're not the man, I am the man. And I don't like you complainers. You know, you and Ronda Rousey, both of you complaining. So instead of Becky Lynch in the main event of WrestleMania, it will be Charlotte Flair. And they went off air. What a way to screw your fans. I mean, you know, WWE loves to do that. They love screwing their fans left and right, up and down to the ground, everywhere. And then they say, oh, they don't love the product. They think the product is not good. I say, no, there's a story going on. But you look, I don't think WWE are good with storylines because they always forget what happened, you know, before. But when it comes to their main events, when it comes to the main stories, sometimes they do it good. Sometimes they do it right. They hit all the key points. They do it correctly. And that's what we need here. So, I think it will be good. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm not wrong, but if I'm wrong, you guys can come to me and say, hey, you were wrong. Okay, the story was bad and they were doing a bad job with it. But I think it's a good story. I think they will do something very big with Charlotte. I mean, with Becky Lynch. Oh my god, imagine Charlotte. So SmackDown Live, the show opened with a graphic for Pedro Morales, rest in peace legend. Charlotte made her entrance to massive boos. She said the main event of WrestleMania was her destiny. She wanted to say that her heart breaks for Becky, but it doesn't. She taught Becky better than to get suspended. She is the backbone and the franchise of the women's division, and the crowd hated that. She said Mr. McMahon didn't choose her because she was his favorite, but because she is the best in the world, and she is a future Hall of Famer, while Becky is a flash in the pan. She then dedicated the main event victory against Ronda at WrestleMania to Becky Lynch. She was sitting front row at Elimination Chamber when Ronda faces Ruby Riott. I must give it to Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte is a great promo and a great heel. That's why whenever she became a babyface, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? She's a natural heel who can get the crowd hated, and that's what she does. And by the way, there are reports of Eva Marie coming back. I mean, that's like awesome news. I mean, she knows how to get the crowd hated too. Carmella and Naomi, our favorite wrestlers, especially this week, defeated Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville with the Iconics. Naomi was the only good wrestler here. She pinned Mandy Rose in the match. So at the Elimination Chamber, it will be Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville starting the match with Sasha Banks and Bayley. And the other teams will get into the match like randomly. Mustafa Ali cut a promo saying he wasn't medically cleared to compete at the Elimination Chamber because of Randy Orton. The truth is he has like a concussion symptoms, so it wasn't because of Randy Orton's stomp. He had some other issues, and that's why he was pulled from the Elimination Chamber. And this sucks. But they found a replacement, and that's Kofi Kingston to be in the match. The Miz came out with Shane McMahon for the Miz TV. This segment sucked. The Usos came out and they talked about, bathing together because they are a tag team. They know each other very well. The Miz and Shane McMahon, they did some comedy stuff. The Miz asked Shane, who is my favorite team? And then he whispered, Toledo Mud Hens. The crowd cheered, oh, because they were in Toledo. And Holy Toledo and shit like that. At the end, they brought up the Mandy Rose thing. I think Shane McMahon did. And then the Usos super kicked both Shane McMahon and The Miz. They either punish Jimmy Uso and don't let them win the titles, or they go on with the plans and give them the tag team titles at the Elimination Chamber. And at the main event, we had a gauntlet match. Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston started the match. This had some good back and forth between the two. We saw an interference from Eric Rowan and also from Xavier and Big E. So the referee kicked all three of them out. And at the end, Kofi Kingston won with Trouble in Paradise. He pinned the WWE Champion. Imagine that. After that, we see Jeff Hardy coming out. He went for the Swanton Bomb, but Kofi Kingston did the SOS, and he defeated Jeff Hardy. Samoa Joe was next. He put the Coquina Clutch on Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston rolled backwards and pinned Samoa Joe. He got rid of Samoa Joe here. Samoa Joe then attacked Kofi Kingston. We saw AJ Styles coming out for the save, and AJ was asking Kofi, do you want to continue the match, dude? Can you do it? Of course he wants to do it. What, do you think he's just gonna give up? Kofi said, yes man, let's do this shit. They had the match, and at the end AJ Styles won. I thought the performance of Kofi Kingston here was phenomenal. It was great. And I think he will have a big spot at the Elimination Chamber. But I don't think he will be in the last 3. Then AJ Styles, he was standing in the ring waiting for Randy Orton to come out. We see Randy out of nowhere giving an RKO and pinning AJ Styles in 7 seconds to win the gauntlet match. 205 Live, we had actually 2 matches. The first match was Jack Gallagher defeating Lince Dorado. I was like, finally Jack Gallagher won a match on this show because he was just losing week after week. And at the end, he got the win on Lince Dorado. And then the second match, it was freaking awesome. Tony Nese defeated Noam Dar in a no DQ match. And that match was great. It was all over the place. You know, we see tables, we see steel steps. There was one spot when Noam Dar was doing the cross arm breaker on Tony Nese. And Tony Nese grabbed him up and threw him on the announcer's table that crashed. Then we see Noam Dar was on the ring bell area. Tony Nese kneed him in the face. Then he threw him in the ring and won the match. That match was freaking awesome. We saw a contract signing happening backstage. Drake Maverick talked about Murphy's 4-month reign of destruction, while Tozawa's win-loss record has improved since joining with Kendrick. Tozawa talked about him defeating Neville, the king of the cruiserweight, before and becoming the champion, and he will do the same at the Elimination Chamber. Their match will be on the kickoff show. So NXT UK, we saw Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley. They had a confrontation at the beginning of the show, and that was awful. The verbiage, the way that they talked, Toni Storm was so stressed, I guess. She wasn't comfortable to talk in front of people or something. And then we saw Rhea Ripley coming out and she was talking so slowly. Mate. It was awful. Then Toni Storm attacked Rhea Ripley and she got the better of it, I guess, which is a good thing. And they will have the NXT Women's title match next week. Noam Dar defeated Jordan Devlin. Look, these 2 guys are so talented. The match was getting so good. But then there was interference. Travis Banks came out. He wanted to help Noam Dar. And then he blatantly interfered, even though he didn't attack Jordan Devlin. But he interfered and he cost Jordan Devlin the match. I thought that sucked. Mia Yim versus Jenny. Mia Yim lost here because she wanted to put the NXT UK woman over, but the match wasn't good. And in the main event, we saw Pete Dunne defeating Wolfgang, and the match was good. It was really good. Pete Dunne won with a cross arm breaker. So they're pushing Pete Dunne very well. NXT this week, we had Donovan Dijakovic defeating Shane Thorne in a very good showing for Donovan. We saw him doing a flip from the top turnbuckle and then super kicking Shane Thorne while he was sitting on the top turnbuckle. We saw him on the outside doing a corkscrew moonsault thingy to the outside on Shane Thorne, and he won with the Feast Your Eyes, which is a reverse GTS that looked great. Keith Lee attacked Cassius Ohno while Cassius Ohno said that he's out of there. He attacked him. Then the Street Profits came out and they made fun of Cassius Ohno. So we see the Street Profits defeating Humberto Carrillo and Stacy Irvine Jr. There was a spot in the match with Montez Ford dropping Stacy on his head that looked painful. And Humberto had a good showing in the match. Then we saw Stacy Irvine doing a picture-perfect moonsault that looked great, but he didn't get all of it. But at the end, the Street Profits won with a super blockbuster. After the match, we see the Street Profits talking about wanting a tag team title shot. They were ready for the War Raiders. Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner came out. They said they won the shot. Daniel Burch and Oney Lorcan came in. They had a fight. We saw the Undisputed Era. They wanted to come out, but they backed out. The War Raiders entered the scene. They attacked everyone, all the tag teams. This was like a hodgepodge of every tag team being in NXT going against each other. So it seems like there will be some kind of a tournament or some kind of a match going on to determine the number 1 contenders coming up next on NXT. Aliyah defeated Tainara Conti in a not good match. The main thing here was after the match where Shayna Baszler with Jasmine Duke and Marina Shafir, they came out and attacked both girls. Shayna Baszler said that this was a notice to everyone else on the women's roster. They are not to be messed with, and don't piss them off. And in the main event, it was Ricochet going against Adam Cole. This wasn't awesome, but it was very good. Like, I was expecting more from these guys, but the match was great. Like, they know each other moves so well. They are so smooth with each other. We see the usual stuff from Ricochet and Adam Cole doing his super kicks, his Shining Wizards, the superplexes, the brainbusters, Ricochet doing his high-flying stuff. This was just fantastic. And the selling here, Ricochet was selling his knee throughout the match, and Adam Cole was working on him. We saw a Hurricane Rana from Ricochet. Then he delivered an axe kick. He continued that with a Northern Lights through a delayed vertical suplex. Ricochet then dropped Adam Cole into a vertigo bomb to score the win. The Undisputed Era came out after the match. Aleister Black coming in for the save. But the Undisputed Era took care of both guys, and they were standing tall to end the show. With that being said, guys, thank you very much for tuning in and listening to the podcast. Always and forever, don't forget that you're one sweet